Be greater than a hater. Published 19 March 2018 on the Police Scotland website. Police Scotland is urging young people to be greater than a hater, as it launches a campaign to raise awareness of hate crime. A total of 5,889 hate crime files were created in 2016-17. Around 900 cases involved a perpetrator aged between 11 and 15, and 1/3 of those 900 incidents, 32%, also involved victims in the same age group. This hat is really small. So, 6,000 hate crimes were reported to the Scotland police, and about 1,000 of those were from young people between 11 and 15. Now, when you're young and growing and you're coming to grips with society and language, you say things and you learn from your mistakes. That is just a natural process of development. Why do we want the police, why do Scotland police think that it's their job to intercede in that age range? Officers warn that many recorded instances of hate crime have a cyber element, as increasing numbers of youngsters use social media to bully their peers online or hide behind fake online accounts. As a result, Police Scotland is today, Friday, launching a social media campaign and working with schools to target young people with the slogan, "Be greater than a hater." I love how they say that they want to target young people. Target is a very operational word in their idea of hate crime. We'll get to that in a second. Assistant Chief Constable Gillian MacDonald said, I can't do a Scottish accent. I can only sound like Sean Connery. "Tackling hate crimes is a priority for..." No, I'm Sean Connery. "Tackling hate crimes is a priority for Police Scotland, and we take reports of any such incidences very seriously. We are working with partners to inform young people in an effort to prevent these incidences. It is vital that people report any hate incidences to us. Everyone has the right to live in safety and without fear." Excepting, of course, fear of the police or fear of your neighbors for tattling on you. Hate crime is defined as any crime which is perceived by the victim or any other person as being motivated by malice or ill will toward a social group. This crime is defined as any crime which is perceived to be motivated by malice or ill will toward a small social group. So I guess if you want to up your crime stats, all you have to do is convince people to perceive malice in everything, aka microaggressions. This can't end well. Perpetrators will target victims based on their presumed sexual orientation, transgender identity, disability, race, and religion or belief. Despite a decreasing trend, race remains the most commonly recorded strand of hate crime. There has, however, been an increase in recorded homophobic and transphobic incidences. Hate crime is still believed to be underreported, although it is thought that the prevalence of younger offenders may be due to an increased willingness to report perpetrators in that specific age group. So their plan to make everybody a tattle on everybody else is working. ACC MacDonald added, "We are aware that hate crime is often underreported. However, Police Scotland is committed to reviewing the fully investigating... However, Police Scotland is committed to reviewing and fully investigating all reports of hate. I would encourage anyone who has been the victim of hate crime in any form to come forward and report it to the police by calling 101 or 999 if it is an emergency. Help! Somebody's hating me! Help it! I'm sorry. I mean, you know, there's actual crime and then there's the perception of crime. And once crime goes from the physical world into the symbolic world, there's some sort of transformation. that happens there between something that can be documented, like look at the gash on my body from the knife that he was wielding, to something that was perceived. I didn't like his tone of voice, or he said this word, but he said it in this sentence. But like we've seen with this Count Dankula incident, Dankula? Count Dankula. How do the Scotland say it? Count Dankula. Ganglia? Count Ganglia. Count Dankula, case of the guy who like trained his dog to see Chael whenever he said this phrase that's offensive, and then he got arrested. The Scottish guy got arrested, and then he was accused of being guilty for a heinous offensiveness of posting this video online, and now he's awaiting sentencing. And in the proceedings, they declared, or the judge declared, that the intent didn't matter and the context didn't matter. It didn't matter if Count Dankula was making fun of his girlfriend or not. Like, he was inciting hatred against this class, the Jewish class. Hate crimes can also be reported online through the Police Scotland website, or more than 400 third-party reporting sites. Jesus! Which offer support to those reporting hate crimes. It is only through reporting offences that we can form a more complete picture of the issue and address it in the most effective manner possible. Telling people to be nice to one another is great. Forwarding a civil society is great, in a positive manner, in a building up manner. That's great. When the police are involved in policing discourse, that's where I have a problem with it. But, you know, I'm just an American. I don't know how the Scottish people feel about this. Community Safety Minister Annabel Ewing said, "There is absolutely no place for any kind of prejudice in Scotland." Except for the prejudice against prejudice, right? Scotland. "This campaign will not only encourage and empower young people to recognize hate crime and report it, but also to see the long-lasting impact that such appalling acts can have on victims." You know, I was bullied. You were probably bullied too. I've done some bullying. I was the oldest. Bullied my younger brother, right? Nobody will let me forget that. I was a bully when I was between the ages of 11 and 15. Yeah, I was. And, you know, I've grown more compassionate, and I've learned from my mistakes. Hopefully, I keep on learning from my mistakes. But do I want the police involved in that? I mean, my parents, certainly, for sure. I mean, they probably need to police their own behavior, but at what point do I get to police my own behavior? If the police are interceding on public discourse, how are the police going to litigate that? How's the intrusion, again, like the intrusion of criminality into discourse? We need to be really open about that. I want to see algorithms. I want to see procedures of definition, solid definition, and language is not as solid as a gash in the brain. It's not. Language is fluid. Language is actually formed out of context. So to strip context from language, you're no longer going to have language anymore. You only understand any given word that I say insofar as that word is placed correctly in a sentence, and you can only follow all my sentences if they are going along in a string of sense. It's contextual. I mean, it's chronological, but it's still contextual. Everything is housed within context, within context, within context. So once you want to start policing that, you need to have a very deep understanding of language, like semiotics and semantics. I mean, are we gonna have the instead of the Amanda rights, are you gonna be read the OED? And then every word that you say, like, you need to understand like the entire history of all the words and the etymological roots of all the words, just in case one of those words happens to have been at some point used as a slander against a protected class. And why do I bring up history? Why do I bring up history? Well, let me tell you why I bring up history. I bring up history because the Police Scotland tweeted, "You may think online you are anonymous. You can create fake profiles and no one can trace you. That's wrong. The messages you type and send can be traced back to you. The same laws apply to online messages, images, and videos. What you post now can affect you later in life," which is very disturbing, which is I think even, well, this probably is more disturbing that police are involved in like going through your history, going through your chat history, finding when you said something wrong 5 or 10 years ago, when it was possibly okay to say that thing, but then over time that has become something that you cannot say, and now all of a sudden you're prosecuted for it. We are committed to working with Police Scotland and others to tackle this blight on our society, and I look forward to seeing young people across Scotland support the campaign and stand up against hate. This blight, huh? What's more blightful? Bad words? Bad thoughts? Or authoritarianism? Which is worse? To access Police Scotland's hate crime reporting form and details of the third-party reporting centres, click here. And then there's 4,999 different third-party reporting apps that you can get on your phone and go around recording each other all the time. This is great. This is great. This is great, Scotland. Oh, geez. Something's going on that's not going to end well. Not going to end well. Good night.